Yo, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm burning the midnight oil, but I am so glad and nervous to be here. This is another episode of the 3%, where I always believe people will tell you 97% of their truth, and that's admirable and that's dope if it's real. But the 3% unspoken holds power in your life. It could be the best thing, it could be the worst thing, it could be the driving force, it could be happiness, or it can be from triggers. So basically, I want to give people the opportunity that I feel is deserving, no matter if you're starting from the beginning or if you're huge. But this platform is strictly for people that I feel need to get their information out. Today, I have Miss Tanya Dunn
Bro.
at the Dunn for my bro-in-law, because yes, this young lady is my sister, and she does great work. She has a great heart. She has been through many great championships and challenging things, and she's been through some things. So I'm just here. I'm nervous. This is first family member, so she probably can call me out if I'm.
I won't.
As you can tell, this interview already, I'm talking, I'm rambling.
No sibling worries here. I'm not the crazy one. Maybe.
We're gonna say hallelujah, and I'm not gonna say what's in the cup for that one.
Sounds good.
Yeah. This is Miss Tanya Dunn. Will you please introduce yourself, what you represent?
Hola, everybody. I am Latanya. I represent Change the Lifestyle for You. It is an organization of women where we grow together, and we grow together in different aspects, and the health and the mental, spiritually, it's the base of everything. But it's just bringing women together and doing some great things and growing and becoming a better us. That's the main key, the main goal for right now.
Absolutely. And I can say for me, I'm so proud of the position that you're in, as far as just having great friends always surrounding you ever since college, and before college, having family and more. So I always tell you all the time, I love you and I'm proud of you for even going the extra mile, because anytime somebody gives you something little, you do it.
Yes.
100%. So you're thriving, you're striving, and I think that's important. So I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, brother. It's hard to get that compliment from your brother. I don't know why, but it just seems like it makes you all warm and fuzzy though, for it to be coming from your baby brother.
Okay. So tell us more about the woman that you are, meaning just give us a background origin story, because we'll get into the family link, but tell us about who you are, who you were, and more.
Okay. I grew up in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, K. I went to the Wash House.
Wash House?
Yes, I did. Washington. Just great love. I went there, graduated from there, went to Southwest Missouri, played basketball there for 4 years.
Oops, squad. If you don't know, when I bought there to Washington into Leavenworth, I got there from Southwest Missouri State, because I was there and the crowd was talking about Hoop Squad.
Hoop Squad. Yep.
She gave me the jersey back in the Mary J. Blige.
I still have my jersey. I
don't know where mine is. I probably gave it to some young tender back then, talking about I'm expressing my love.
Terrible. You need to go get that jersey back. So played ball there, and tried out for, back then the WNBA was LBA. Went and tried out for the LBA. Made it all the way to the last cut, and then I didn't know what I was gonna do, because I had been playing basketball since 4th grade. It really was a pivotal time, because that's all I did, that's all I knew, that was my motivation, and I felt that was my purpose. But it came to the point where I really had to, what am I going to do? What is my plan? I can honestly say I didn't have a plan. It was always basketball. So I ended up moving back to Kansas City from Springfield, and just started working. And then I began to get into church, and really found God called me. I don't know why he called me, but he called me into the ministry, and just I don't know, because I was in a crazy place. And called me into the ministry, and then I found purpose all over again, that my real purpose. So, and
Okay.
I'm still doing ministry.
Okay. So we're
Yeah.
gonna touch into everything that you've talked about.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you because you believed in me. And I'm sure other athletes know, no matter if your biggest thing was to achieve and be professional or even on the college level and more. I think it's important for people to understand, for people that truly have a desire for sports and more, it's an empty feeling once it's over. I mean, no matter if you try to go pro, overseas, college, whatever the case might be, it's really important when they tell you that you should focus on your grades and a career. You never think it's going to be over.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because I felt that way after Leavenworth. I was burnt out. I went to Neo show, and our lives changed at around the same time. So tell us about Southwest Missouri State, because you had Ro Reed come through.
Yep.
And that was the first
Ro
time
Reed from the dot.
I went to look, when I went to Southwest Missouri State, I don't care nothing. I know they got a Burger King.
We got a lot of
Yeah. And I think it's called Pink. They had me in the 18 and up club that was so live and wild while I was later. I saw Brownstone there.
You was a little kid in a candy store.
I'm still scared of Shell. But
I had to get on my protective mode then. I'm like, no. Yeah, it was a great experience. Southwest Missouri, Coach Burnett was a great coach. She taught us mental toughness. If she didn't teach us anything else, mental toughness was something that we all should have learned, whether we played or whatever our part was in on the team. But I have made some great friends from Southwest Missouri, and I still am friends with Nana and Rochelle, and it's just a great thing. I even played against some people that we played at Washington. You played against Tasha. She was at Wichita. Patrice McGee, played against her. Played against Daisha at Wichita as well. So it was nice to come against your own. Why not was kicking back then, So it was just a great experience. It was another level for me coming from high school to college. It was different because school was different, responsibility was different. Getting up at 5 o'clock was real different for me. I didn't do well in the beginning, but I learned my lesson, having to do extra runs and stuff. But, it was an adjustment. But when it did end, when the college portion of it in, and I didn't make it into the NBA, and I remember that moment, and I asked someone, I said, what more do I need to do? What are you looking for? Because I was killing it at the practice. These girls was bigger than me, and they were taller than me. And I felt good going against them. Mm-hmm. And what they said, Broham? They said, can you play without your brace? So to me, I feel my brace stopped me from going pro. Okay. And to this day, I still say my brace stopped me from going pro.
So a little backstory to that. You got to understand, I was introduced to my sister my sophomore year in high school. Had no idea that this phenom, they said she was cat quick before she hurt her knee. Mm-hmm. They said she was super fast still afterwards. We went to the same high school. She was there 4 years before me.
Yep.
I didn't know that was who was leading rebounds, everything else. So we are in the Washington High School. It's a lineage that's happening. And I didn't know that she was this big time All-America that my homegirl Ro used to be like, they had some hoopers. So when she found out who my sister was, she was like, that's your sister? So everybody else was like, that's your sister? Coach Latham was like, Granny. Because that was her nickname, Granny. But we're going to lead up to that. So tell me about your childhood, because I was not around. I had no idea I knew I had Andrea, I knew Andrea,
Uh-huh.
and my father actually lived across the street from me. But he had he had a family over there, and I was on the other side. So I knew about my baby sister, Lisa, but I knew more Tiffany and Stephanie. That's who I would say, oh, those are my sisters. So I guess for me, even though my father was across the street, I didn't connect with my dad at all. Like I just, okay, that's my daddy. But tell me a little bit about your background, because I know you've had great people around, your mom, Beto, so
Yep.
many, I mean, just
My grandmother.
who you
It's
are.
my younger years, I stayed with my grandmother most of the time because she wouldn't allow my mom. My mom would work like two jobs. She was a CNA nurse, and she was a single mother, and she was just trying to do what she do.
That's my
And
boo.
my she just tried, but my grandmother wouldn't let me, just go anywhere. So during the school year, I would stay with my grandmother off on Fourth and Rolling down on the end. Anyway, and I grew up there, and she was very strict. I was very sheltered. I wasn't able to get off the street. And when I was able to get off the street, I had to be back by the street lights. And if I didn't, I was gonna go get my own switch and have my destiny met my butt.
Good upbringing.
And and when I got in high school as a freshman, that's when I moved back with my mom. And at that time, she was married, and I'm a single child, so it was just me. I didn't have anyone by my mother, any other siblings by my mother. At this point, I only knew I had a sister, and I really just met my sister, Andrea.
So she's the glue to everything. She's
Yeah,
always around.
I knew her because I was at her house all the time. I played with her older sister. I thought she was my sister, and it was like, no, she your sister. The bad little girl was my sister.
She's still my sis. Angel is.
That girl was bad. Oh gosh, she was bad. So I knew I had a sister, but I did not have a relationship with her. It was a period of time where I lost contact with my dad, and you know how that is. You don't know where he is or whatever. And so I didn't see them for a long time, but I knew I had a sister, Andrea. And then when I moved back with my mom, when I started high school, that was a big change because she was married. At first it was great, and then it turned to pure hell for me. That's when I really start to experience some things, and I wanted to move back. That's when I start to really see some things. And for the first time, because remember, I'm sheltered. I don't understand none of this that's going on. It was abuse going on. There was sexual molestation going on. And it was just not a good time. And basketball was my out. That was the way I got out of the house. I played AAU. I played basketball nonstop. So, but that was my way out in my late time coming in. And then, after that, graduated and went to college. But I didn't get to experience growing up with, siblings. I always wanted siblings. I always wanted a brother. I told my mom I was going to go to the store and buy me a brother or buy me a sister. And I had my piggy bank with me. She said, I'm going. I want a brother and sister. But it just never happened. She said she didn't want any more children.
Yeah.
And she wasn't stopping it. So God must didn't want her to have any more children. But it was pretty good. My childhood was really good. Uncle Jerry, I have great uncles.
Come on, Uncle Jerry, if you listening
Uncle
to
Jerry.
this, you going in online about it, Kim? You right.
My crazy Uncle Raymond, and my Uncle Andy, and and I had good family in Beetle and Uncle Dale and Cindy. It was just a real cool vibe, just a real good family atmosphere. Didn't have no crazy things going on with that. So growing up with my family, I think that's what kept me on the straight and narrow.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
For me, so the story is this. I love my pops to death because we are so much alike. And I think it's so
sound alike too.
How they say they can move people out of your life sometimes. And I forgot what verse it was. But when they enter your life, God replenishes everything that you lost. So me knowing my dad, he always could sing. He was sharp dressing, chocolate skin. He looked like Teddy Pendergrass back in the day. He used to sit out
Waves.
guitar, right? Finger wave. He did his own finger waves and more.
Mm-hmm.
So when my dad, uh, he went on vacation, but it was a setup, and that's more into things. Our family has so much going on, but
Yeah.
I didn't see my dad for a long time, and by then I started playing sports. And much like you, I had, as a child, you can't verbally tell grown people things, or you don't want to say things, you'll be the same. So it was some abuse going on.
Yep.
And I couldn't even tell my dad across the street because I didn't want to disrupt the household. So I went through my abuse situation earlier, and molestation, kind of dealing with ladies. But at a young age, I mean, like they say nowadays, young men, when they talk about losing their virginity or anything like that, they're describing their first rape encounter.
That's
Truly they are. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time Al Collins, Rick Frank, 3-2 baseball, Rosedale Optimist, you already know. When I got into the basketball thing, I was saved by Arthur George, my cousin. So he was a male influence on me after baseball. And by the time I met Al, I was like you. I really didn't care about basketball. I couldn't walk and chew bubblegum, but Al Collins and Gail and Mr. Watson and just the whole Running Rebel crew I was around, and even playing with Jerron Rushing and playing against Jerron.
Yeah.
It was something that I did because I didn't have brothers. And I love my sister to death. I live with my sister, but she was older. And my sister was so smart. She Sumner and all. My sister was so fly. She introduced me to music, but it was just a brotherhood, and the sports kept me on the straight and narrow. So when I finally reconnected with my dad, he pulls out this wallet because that's his tablet. He pulls out this clipping and unfolds it. And he shows me this picture, but it's in black and white. Well, the light was shining, and my sister was real dark skin. And I saw with these glasses, and I'm like, that ain't my sister. I don't. But it turns out that she went to Washington High School. I was at Washington High School. He revealed that I had more brothers and sisters. It just so happened that when I found out about Tanya from Coach Lathrop, he was excited. He called her, told her about me. And
I was like, that ain't my brother. He like.
Well, how did he bring that to you? How did he? Because I don't know Lathrop, so I was just like, well, Tanya Davis. And I looked at his daughter, and she looked at me like.
After practice, my coach came to me and said, "Did you know you have a brother at Washington?" I said, "At Washington?" Now I knew Andre should be close to my age and out of school, but I said, "No, I don't have no brother." I said, "His name Andre." That's all I knew, Andre and Andrea, and they said, "No, his name is Clifton." Clifton?
Hold on.
I don't know Clifton.
Bill collectors might be out there. Government.
Yeah, they call him CJ. And somebody end up sending a picture of him. And I said, that is not my brother. He is too light to be a Davis. He's too light. He was too light to be a Davis. But what confirmed it, what confirmed it was my first phone call with him. They gave me his phone number, and my first phone call with him, he sounds straight up like my daddy. I said, he is a Davis. We got a light skin in the family. But you, CJ, really connected the dots for us, because I didn't know about Angel. I didn't know about Lisa. And it was like, I'm like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I grew up by myself and I had other siblings I could have been chilling with, get to know with? And so when we had that time where we were all together and was meeting, it was like we grew up together. We all kind of got a crazy, fun, type of personality. But it was just weird that to find out all this time I wanted some siblings, wanted to grow up, and then all of a sudden I got I got 5 extra siblings. So it was a great experience, and I owe that to you, because I wouldn't have never known.
It's
Wouldn't have
on.
never known.
Hey, like I said, I always say it, and I said on the last podcast, well, the one I had with Chris was, we make these prayers and sometimes we forget about them, but God never forgets what you pray
You
for.
don't.
You just got to do the right thing and he'll give it to you. And it's so funny because when I was introduced to Tanya, I was in school with my older sister, Angel. We were in home economics together. And I remember when I told her, and she kind of looked back at me like, what? And then fast forward, I go downstairs and I see Keisha, that's my brother's sister, and I tell her, and she got her ROTC on, and she looking like, And then I see Cynthia, who he has a baby by, and she's like, So it's like like degrees of separation. I didn't know I had a brother. I always wanted a brother. So I found out my brother's the reason why the Fun Factory shut down. I'm not gonna get into the logistics of it. So when I saw him, I wanted to hit him in the chest because he ruined everybody's childhood. However,
hey, he was there. He was right after me. He lived 2 streets over. My mama said, "You got a brother named Andre that lived 2 streets over." I said,
So you lived on
I
what
was
street?
doing that to her.
What street did you live on?
I lived on 4th. That was when I lived on 4th and Rolling.
So he lived on 7th Street, probably by Church's Chicken, because that's where his cousin was. And I lived on 10th Street. So I live right by Fairfax and Parkwood. So we're all on one strip on Quindaro.
Good night.
And when I found out about my brother, I had no idea. My dad said, I think he went to Washington. So I had a girlfriend at the first time, my freshman year girlfriend. I go to school and I show a picture of my daddy. I said, my daddy said I had a brother here, but I ain't never met him or whatever. So I show a picture of my daddy. She said, shut up, stop right here. She pulls out a picture of him with overalls with his red hair.
Sound like him.
She said, I know who your brother is because my best friend dated him and I dated his cousin Tim. And I was like, wow, when I tell you God opened up everything and replenished everything. And when I met him, he was in jail. Somehow he made his way to Leavenworth. By my senior year, my brother was out. He knew the people that I knew. We connected, and it has never been the same because that dude is so hilarious. So
very hilarious.
I am the, okay, is something going on? Come and get me. What you want? I'm the what you want to do, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'll laugh and joke, but when they come to my sisters, well, what do you want to do? Dre, loving. A16 Dre, loving, crazy, hilarious.
Yep.
In a good heart. So that's our background story. So getting to that point where we're all connected and more, I'm not going to be before you long. Getting to that point, we come to the point in your life, college is over. You're graduating. I'm in college my first semester. Really not feeling it. I did have an injury, but I kind of played to it. I was at Neosho Community College. Shout out Coach Gill, Jabari, Kelly Newton. Because they told me that I wasn't about to run for nobody for going to chase girls. Kelly came in talking about we ain't got no team. But I get a phone call, and I don't know if you want to discuss any of this.
It's fine.
I get a phone call, and Coach Gill tells me, hey, you need to go home. I'm thinking I got kicked off the team because I was hurt all year, but they brought these dang kids in there, and all of a sudden I'm doing 360 dunks, and he went off. He exploded on me, talking about you faking, but I'm killing it. And the kids are like, you got hops. But he was like, it's been a situation at home. You need to go home. It involves your sister Tanya. I'm like, okay, which Tanya? We talking about salt or pepper? Because I got 2 sisters named Tanya the same age.
I'm Pepper, obviously.
So they tell me what's going on. You know, I get in contact with you and I hear the whole story. And for me, and I think you know this, so maybe I never said it. For me, it was not nothing to think about. I instantly wanted to come home because I love my sister. We had built a rapport within 2 years. I feel like when you meet people, you listen to their story. So you know how to treat them accordingly, because you can be the best of the best or the worst of the worst with people.
Yep.
So instantly when I heard it, I was compelled to come home. I wanted to be there every step of the way. Can you speak on what happened? Because it was Yeah, it was interesting. It was the first time I ever had to deal with anything like that. And by it being a sibling and it's new, and you get me, we stick like glue. We are the
Yeah.
same person. So
Yep, we are. Well, the incident that he's talking about is when my mother was murdered. And I was in Springfield. I was working in Springfield at this time. And I just felt off the day. I remember it like yesterday. So I was at work and I just felt off the whole day, you know. And then that was back in the day when we had our little pagers. And my pager was, I didn't notice it or something, but I had, they had been calling, trying to get a hold of me throughout the night and throughout the day. And I finally called, and my cousin Cherie is who answered the phone. And I was like, what's going on? I got a lot of pages from y'all. What's going on? And she said that my mother had been shot. And I'm like, what you talking about? My mother being shot? What you say, Cherie? And it was just like, I know you just didn't tell me this. Mm. And she said, yes, your mother's been shot. You need to come home. And then, I just started crying and crying and crying. And I got home. I don't even know how I got home, but I got home and was packing. And I was living with my friend Rochelle, and I come through the door crying, telling her what happened and telling her I gotta go. And then that's when Melvin came. Someone called and told Melvin, and Melvin came and he drove me back because I was about to get on the road, but he drove me back. I mean, we got stopped like 3 or 4 times by the police because he was driving back so fast. And at this time, I'm just thinking she got shot, right? And she was shot by an ex-boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Yep, she was shot by an ex-boyfriend because they were going to court because he had assaulted my uncle Raymond, and she was the witness, and he was going to go back to jail, and he didn't want to go back to jail. So that's what led up to that night. But on the trip there, when I got here, I'm like, where's my mom? What hospital she's at? We calling from right when we hit Kansas City. And they said, no, Tanya, she's passed. She passed away. Oh God, that was the worst feeling in my whole entire life. That was it. And when I got to the house where my uncle was, where the family and stuff was, I said, where he at? I'm going in that jail. I'm gonna kill him. I mean, all I saw was hate and rage, and I've never felt that before. And it was past 100, okay? Because I was gonna go into this is in my mind. I was gonna go into that jailhouse wherever he was, and I was gonna kill him and take the consequence. I didn't care what happened. And then they told me well, he killed himself. And that is when I was like, oh my God. So now I have this rage inside of me that really didn't go away for a long time. And so now I'm dealing with the loss of my mom. It was just, I was young. I was just out of college, like 1 year out of college.
You were supposed to graduate.
2 years out of college. And it just, it was a lot. And I didn't have, even though I had that family with me and I had, people coming around, my Lady Bear family came up and actually my coach, she did a grand gesture and even though I had that support, I felt like I was walking through that whole thing by myself. And I felt numb the whole time. I felt like I was in a twilight zone and I was waiting for this episode to end. And so that's how that is. And after that, it took a long time to really, because I didn't know I've never handled that before. I didn't know what domestic violence was. Yes, I've seen my mom get hit before. I've seen the the abuse, I didn't know that was domestic violence. No one has ever told me what domestic violence was, what it looked like, what to do if you see it, if you encounter it.
You have
But
to
that was
understand, that was like in the 1980s and 1990s. It wasn't a platform that was basically
not
just
for us.
pointing it out. And it was so important because the way you were feeling, that's why I instantly left. You know, and Neosho wanted me back in some more schools, Butler and more, but by then I had went through my own life situations that basketball was on the back burner.
Yeah.
I was at that point where trying to figure out, I felt depressed because I felt I let my whole city down, even though I still rooted for everybody else, but it was a personal journey. And when that happened to you, I just felt, like I said, when I met you, I felt such a personal connection. It was God there. It was genuine love. And I can honestly say you're somebody who I feel genuinely loves me. And very few people know what I mean when I say that. So dealing with that, like I said, I was heartbroken for you. I was hurt for you because she actually made my game. That was a game I played against Manhattan when I caught the alley-oop and I saw her jump up and I was like, oh, I did something right. When I was in Leavenworth, I caught that oop one hand and dunked, and she was like, oh, I'm like, oh, she a real fan. So, you know,
I'm with it.
And that's my thing. I feel like I'm very protective of the ones I love. It's hard for me to convey it, or it's hard for me to say it and show it sometimes, but it was a no-brainer for me. And
I knew you when I knew, this is when I knew that you was a protector. It was at your grandmother's funeral. I don't know if you remember, that's when your dad and Andre was there. And that's the time where I didn't really have a good relationship with daddy, remember? And you said, please, don't say nothing, don't get into it with him. I said, okay, I promise I won't get into it with him. And I tried my best to keep my that I tried my best.
We were just learning, Pops. You gotta understand.
Yeah,
it was new for him.
I didn't know that he was, I didn't know him, but he was uncouth at the time. And he had said something crazy. And I just looked at you and you looked at, oh man, your face was just totally different. Like, how in the world did you just say that? And I just walked away because it was a time that, I just wanted to be there for you at the funeral. But when I got him to that car, I let it all out. Him and my brother Andre. I let it all out because I held it for a long time. But that's when I knew that you were a protector. And I never had that. I was the only one. If I got in a fight, I was fighting by myself or running. One of the two. I was good at running, but I never had that part of protection from someone that's willing to jump in from me. So that was my first time really just understanding that, ooh, my brother goes here. I can call him.
I'm a nice guy. I'm a very nice guy.
Him. And you still that way to this day. And being a big sister, you don't see that because you so cool and laid back, and we don't really see that part of you, But being a big sister, you're busy being that big sister, and I don't think I saw it even. Even when I got married, I didn't take into account where you probably wanted to know if this cat is cool. You know what I mean? That brotherly, like, hey, I didn't get to do my job.
Yeah, and I found it was so funny when I found out you was getting married. We talked about that. I was there a week before because I always used to try to surprise my mom. And I get the text that she's getting married. I'm like, well, who? Instantly, whatever this look is she talks about, I had it all over my face. Because at one point I was heartbroken, but then it was because I'm protected. That's my sis. David's men, no matter my daddy and my brother, no matter what, don't mess with the girls.
Yeah.
If you mess with the girls, we all got problems. If you argue for 12 hours, I will be there in 12 hours, ready.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy how our family just evolved.
Right.
and how it went down, but it's still all good. We still got love for each
Absolutely.
other as if we did grow up together. We don't have to see each other every day. And when we do see each other, it's like we just fit together like a glove.
And it's
So
so incredible. Even with our first cousins, we got, we got
yep.
Nisa, we
Anna, nice.
got
Yep.
Sherry, and it's all like that. And I'm so proud of those young ladies. And then we got their brothers. We got everybody
Yep.
out here doing great things.
I work with my cousin Z, Daddy's first cousin,
Really?
Zephyra. Yep. I work, and and she is his first cousin. Yep. So it's just crazy because I've never, uh, seen or hung around his side of the family. So I didn't know the people in Ohio and my grandmother, his mother. I never met him. I was able to meet Grandpa. And, we all met Grandpa when
How old was it? It was what, 102?
when we met him. I think
He passed at around 102, or
I think
when
he
he
was
met
like
me,
100.
because we was down in
Yeah.
Sykeston. Shout out to Sykeston, Missouri. Everybody down there. Auntie Lisa, everybody down there. They all can sing too.
Yes, they can.
They all can sing. Beautiful.
I didn't get that talent. I don't know what happened, but it's all good.
How about that?
How about that?
So fast forward to where we are today.
All right.
As you can tell from this interview, you can tell how much compassion we have and how passionate we are about people. And from our past, even dealing with our brother, probably about 3 years ago, he was a victim of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. Domestic violence isn't just a woman trait.
Nope.
It goes back and forth for men too. Violence is violence. Domestic violence is domestic violence. Excuse me, across the board. As you can tell, it's a passion. So what made you want to come up with the group and organization? And how did that come apart? Because I think God has something to do with it. Because you have to understand, just a little fast forward, my sister, without her even understanding, and I think this happens because it happened to one of my close friends recently, when you're called for ministry, it's like you disappear. Like I could not find my sister. I had no idea what was wrong with her. I had an attitude about it. I was nervous because I couldn't find her. But when God has a calling for you, he has a way of removing you from everybody, it seems like, even though you're right
in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah. So you got called to ministry. Well, how did that come about? Because I love my niece and my nephew. Love them.
Being called was another process because it was I was still dealing with a broken relationship, and it was just a whole lot going on, and I had lost my job, but I was in ministry, and I was starting to go actually through depression. And it stemmed from my mom's death. That I never ever dealt with it. And even at this time, I had not been to her gravesite because I hadn't dealt. I couldn't even go to church on Mother's Day because I couldn't deal with it. So it was a lot going on. So I think God had to take me out and just deal with me by myself so I can start peeling these layers that I was starting to accumulate. And I had to see him because I never saw this in my future. And he called me, and I couldn't sleep. He would give me messages while I was asleep. I would get up in the middle of the night. I would have to write. I would have to pray. I would cry. And it was a 2-year process. I was running like Jonah. And I finally accepted that call. I finally said, okay, uncle. I really said uncle. But I accepted that call. And then, I was going to Faith City at the time, and God really just showed me what ministry was about there. He taught me how to treat the people, how to minister to the people, how to be real with the people, how to love on the people. And, I learned so much about that part. And I think that's when I came to the decision of, I want to help people. I want to help people get through life struggles, because it is hard. I wanted to do that, but I couldn't do that in the beginning because I was still broken.
Right.
And I asked God, I said, Lord, can we say Jesus on your show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus, thank you, Lord. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. I didn't want to know. Jesus. So I asked him, I said, why come I know what I want to do. This is when I started Purple Impact. That was a domestic violence awareness, and I would just, go train people on it. But I really wanted to do more with it, but God wouldn't let me do anything with it. And he said, I can't let you touch these women when you got unforgiveness and you got a lot of anger and a lot of hurt still. You're still broke. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to help. He said, no, not with unforgiveness. And he showed me, unforgiveness is very hard. And unforgiveness is what led me into depression. The unforgiveness and other events that had happened that caused me not to forgive and that caused me to just snowball into this place of depression.
So can you say that one more time? Because I think a lot of people deal with it. I've dealt with it before. What did you say that unforgiveness did?
The unforgiveness just allowed other things, when other events happen on top of that, of the anger and the bitterness, and I got in another relationship. I was heartbroken. That caused me to be angry about that, to be unforgiving for what people had done, and it just really just snowballed into depression. When I was in depression, it was really a low point in my life, but yet I was called. And God was dealing with me, and he was unpeeling all of those layers. And the process that he took me through is now the process that I teach. It really is part of that. It's part of that change lifestyle journey. That's one of the things that we do. It's a 3-month journey. And that first part is purge. And that first part deals with some spots you don't want to touch or some spots you haven't touched. You got to go back and deal with molestation, being molested. You got to go back and deal with being raped. You got to go back and deal with seeing your mama being hit. Then you got to go back and remember that your mom was killed and taken from you. And it's just a lot of things through that journey that you have to finally face,
right? So
you can be free. Because just like my changed lifestyle, you have to uncover to recover. You have to uncover.
What?
Mask off.
Well,
to recover. To
mask
heal,
off.
To be restored. Yes. So that's really what changed lifestyle is about. It's really freeing us from those things that hinder us in ways that we really don't even know about.
Yeah. And that's that's the keynote. It's kind of like a no-brainer. A lot of things that happen in life are no-brainers or everyday life, but the thing that I like about what you're doing is, you're truly reaching to the everyday person.
Yeah.
Therapy is very important. It's important to go see a therapist, and that's one thing that I do appreciate about people of color. We're starting to understand you can pray about things, but you need therapy. There's nothing wrong. That doesn't mean that you're denouncing or not acknowledging how God works, but we are human beings. And let's put yourself in a place where you can talk to somebody that's educated, that's studied for it, and if they have a true passion for it, their job is not to have you come back all the time. Their job is to get you to the point where you're self-sufficient.
Yes.
And I think that the ministry, if I know you, and when I watched a few of your YouTubes, that's what you're doing. You want people to sprout so they can then teach somebody else, because that's what keeps the ministry going. That's what keeps just anybody that's truly trying to help, self-help and more, or whatever the case might be. Your job is not to keep that person there, just like at a church.
And not to be a crutch.
Keep you there.
That is the crutch.
Sprout.
Yeah. You can't be a crutch to people, because then they're really not growing, because they're depending on you instead of depending on the Lord. The Lord is there with you all the time. I can't be with you all the time. You know, the only thing that we can do is give you the tools and give you the process to go through. Because sometimes even just going through the purge that first month, you're not going to get everything. You might deal with something. God will, deal with you in pieces. That's why we have people that have taken the change lifestyle more than once, because
Absolutely.
each time they're revealed something different. And so, it's not to be a crutch, but when you have that journey, your journal, because we tell them to have a journal. When you have that journal, that's what that journal is for. So you can go back and reflect on your lessons. You can go back and see your prayers and remember where you were and where you are now. And what stops me from depression, when Andre was killed, it was really hard for us as a family. This was really hard, and it would have been easy for me to go back in unforgiveness. Absolutely. Easy, because it was the same type of situation. She shouldn't have died, he shouldn't have died, and it would have been easy to just allow that anger to come back and take over again. So if I had not learned that process in the beginning, I would have failed at it when Andre was killed. Absolutely. And so, I had to forgive. And I know the feelings of some of our siblings, and I understand where they Absolutely. Are. I get it. For me to stay free, I cannot allow myself to go back. And into depression, into hate, into unforgiveness.
I think that's the biggest thing, unforgiveness, and not saying that it's a bad thing. It's a character that some people deal with better. You can lie to anybody in the world, but you can't lie to yourself about what you're going to do. Right. And I believe for me, that's what got me through was the fact of understanding the church that I joined, Crossover Bible Fellowship here. They touched on so many things in their men's group. But on top of that, it was men holding men accountable, and they taught the word. And I was so happy when I was in the word. I'm Lot. I ain't gonna lie, I am Lot. I am Lot. Abraham gotta come and get me.
Get on out of there.
Already. But I mean, it's not just if you know the story a lot, it's just about life for me. What did it for me was the loss of my brother was one thing, but to see the way it affected my dad, because I feel like that was my dad's best friend. And like I said, I don't feel slighted because my dad is my best friend, and we're all different. Yeah. But knowing how my father deals with things, like you never see Davis man cry. Well, him at least. Me and my brother, yeah. If you cry, we gonna be looking like.
I seen y'all cry.
Right. So dealing with my brother, I think without them knowing it, it hurt me so much because it hurt my sisters so much, because it hurt his sisters so much, because I had to think about his sister witnessed all of that. That hurts me still to this day. I still pray for her. I still have not had a conversation because I don't want to bring up things to make other people feel a certain kind of way. I don't want to trigger them. Right. And that's why I had to, in dealing with my niece, and I love my niece to death. When she gave me that phone call, and I called her and told her, and then she called me. I thought she was laughing, but she was crying. She was like, and I said, look, if my brother said he does not want to be a vegetable.
Yep. I don't say that.
I don't. He told her that before in life. And I said, I don't care what my daddy says. I don't care what his mama says. You are his daughter. Give him his wish. Yeah. And then, like I said, the only thing that got me through it is because I never know what God has planned. Because when he passed, like I said, I get the ages mixed up. A 26-year-old lady got his kidney. A 50-year-old woman got his kidney. So that let me know how God worked. And that was my speech. So the unforgiveness, I was so glad. That was the first time in a long time, or maybe the first time I saw the way God works when he says we all have a purpose. Yeah. So when I had to read my testimony to the young lady face to face, and I thought it was a group project, but I was the only one there. And then I had to catch a flight. I'm like, ain't nobody do the homework.
We're supposed to all do it that day, but something happened. I don't know what happened.
But I mean, that was the first time I had to understand forgiveness. And it's not to say that I'm not angry. It's not to say anything, but
Mhm.
I felt that if my family was there, I had to understand forgiveness as his mom did, or everybody has their own dealings with it. So I love my brothers and I love my sisters and cousins and more, but it's just a personal journey in life that you have to do. Um, Speaking of that, we've been talking about family and like, tell me about some of your friends. Give a shout out to your friends because Consuela has been there. You got
I
so
got a
many,
ride or
you
die
got
crew.
from SMS to give a shout out to your people that's assisting you along this
Ooh.
way and that's backing you along your journey because I think that's very important.
Oh God, very important, and it's been very helpful to have these friends that, and I call them the ride or die crew, and they
Mhm.
are truly my ride and die crew. I can
Dipped in the
call
blood,
them.
ride or die. That's what she mean. They dipped in the blood. Go
They
ahead.
did ride or die.
Not
They
Rough Riders because she don't listen
ride
to
or
secular
die
music.
crew.
Dipped in the blood is that it's that you don't know the reason. That's the ride or die. Go ahead.
Starting with high school, my ride or die was Taisha Jones. Taisha Jones was my ride or die. That's who I hung with. That's the only person my mom will allow me to go with. She called her trouble, and I was trouble too. And so we've gone through so many things and have so many memories. And till this day, we are still good.
So
If
tough.
I need something, I can call her.
Yes.
Next ride or die. Next ride or die will be Rochelle and Nana.
Already. SMS in the house. Number
Ride
11.
or die
Paying
crew.
attention, number 11 with the headband, with the forehead. Your forehead was before its time, but you was killing it. Go ahead.
Oh, you gotta talk. Yes, yes. And and so created a real great bond in college, and we still riding today. That Rochelle is still in Springfield, Nana is in Arkansas. And then we
You know
come
that
to
if you need your friend, all your true friends, if they need me, holler at me. I got you.
nah, they don't need you. And I got a crew, remember? We call you when we need a heavy hitter to come and handle that kind
That's
of
what I'm
business.
saying. If you
All
need,
right.
holler at me.
We already know that then. And then when I moved back to Kansas City, Michelle Perry, that was the next ride or die. Built a relationship with her. We began working together, and it's crazy how that relationship, because she ended up leaving to go to Louisiana, and then she came back and we reconnected because her husband and Melvin worked together, and they
Shout
kept
out to
saying,
Mel. Shout out to Melly Mel. I'm sorry about
shout
that.
out to
Shout out to
Melly
Melly Mel.
Mel.
He's the one who told me to keep my good liquor in my room and the weak stuff out for the public.
Believe it.
Good dude, man.
And then I met Consuelo Liddell.
Come on,
Me
neighbor
and
from
her,
Cleveland. Come on,
and
Cleveland.
she's not. Yeah, and just, and then we all three really hung together. Began Consuelo and Michelle and I began to hang together a lot, and we went to church together, and really, grew into a relationship. We saw each other through our lowest points, and we were there for each other, and it's been strong and still strong now. It's nothing that can break that apart, because it is like glue. Okay, the Lord keeps us together. And then through ministry, there's some other ride or dies, and like Darla Column, she's a ride or die. She's a person that, that's truly that's close to my heart, because she's married to one of my schoolmates, Damon. And so she's really a ride or die, because no matter what she goes through or what we go through, she's there or we there. And it's always been like that. But and I got a new ride or die, Artavia Johnson. She's gonna be mad because she don't like to be out there like that. I don't know what she got in her past. She don't like to be out.
Come on, come purge with us. Come
Artavia is
purge
a
with
ride or
us.
die. she's a young buck, she's like a little sister. And just really just teaching her and just guiding her spiritually and just being there for her. She's gone through, brain surgery and stuff. All these women, all my ride or dies have a testimony for you. Okay. And we've seen each other in the lowest place, and we've seen each other in the highest place. But the one thing that keeps us together is our love for God. The love for God is what keeps us together. And that support, that encouragement, that push. Even when I was in depression, boy, Michelle got on my nerves. I was like, stop coming over my house. She came over every time, and she would just sit at that table and play solitary. Because I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to be involved. But that's the type of friends that I have. Great support system. Great. If you don't have a friend like that, I don't know how y'all get through it, because I don't know. I just don't know how I would have got through some of the situations without them.
So this section, and like I said, I ain't gonna be before you long.
Pastor.
This part of the show is called Tony Dunn.
Tony Dunn.
How did this happen? I mean, tell me about Tony Dunn, what this chapter means to you and more. Because I fell in love with the kids on Juneteenth. I rock with them all.
They love you too. This happened in the time of my life where I was done with love. Okay. I was thriving. I was okay with being single. I was happy. I was doing ministry. I was just doing good. I was in a good spot. Didn't need nobody, didn't want nobody, wasn't looking for nobody. And it's so crazy. And so I was over at Michelle's house one time, and she said, hey, we need to get on
now don't incriminate people.
A place. I don't incriminate her.
Don't incriminate.
I can't remember the name of it's a dating.
They're not paying me, so don't say the app.
I sure ain't. It was one of them places. And I said, nah, I ain't trying to, I don't need nobody. I don't want to be on all of that and go through all the hoodlums and stuff. And she said, come on. I said, you do it. And then she grabbed my phone, made me a profile, added a picture and everything. And I'm like, really? And then her sister, Rose. Oh, Rose, shout out to Rose. Woo, she would have got me. Rose, she's way in Arkansas, but she would have found her page. That's another ride or die. Can't leave her out. Woo. Rose said, Tanya gonna be the one to find somebody. I said, no, I'm not, because I ain't looking. And this is too many crazy things going on, too many crazy people. You got to go through a lot of bad apples to find one good one, half decent one even. And one day I just got tired of that app dinging on my phone. So I'm trying to take this app off. And I had spoke with Tony before, right? I had spoke with him just general. He wasn't like the other cats trying to get in and all of that stuff. But I had spoke to him before, but this particular day I was trying to get this thing off of my phone to stop these notifications. And so he had, hey, what's going on? Hey, sent a message. I sent the message, do you know how to get this off my phone? Because I'm tired of it. And he said, well, yeah, I could tell you how to take it off, but then how we gonna talk? I said, well, I ain't giving you my number. I ain't ready for that. And so I said, you got Facebook? And he said, yeah. So he told me how to get it off my phone and all of that. And then I went to Facebook and went from his very first post. Ooh. And I went through the whole
Jesus creep. Yeah, just let Sarah be creep. Go ahead.
I went through the whole thing, every comment. I wanted to know about him because he could see more on my Facebook page. Only thing I found out about that man was that he loved his kids. That's it. I found out that he loved his kids. And so we began to talk on Facebook. And then eventually I gave him my number and I said, now, if you got a high voice, I ain't gonna like you. Because I had experience with somebody that had a high voice and I couldn't take it. And so when I answered, he tried to be like very, very white. Is this deep enough for you? You know, and then it was on, it just shorted from there. It was just on from there. He was, you know, wasn't pushy and just great. Just,
So,
you know, just what you want to know, man.
You landed into getting married.
Yeah.
And what's so dope is that everybody was a part of it. Not I ain't even worried about me, but it was so good to see the pictures with sis doing your makeup, bro there, dad walking you down the aisle.
Yeah. Dad almost didn't make it. He almost didn't make it.
Let's fast forward. Cut.
He made it, and I was so. When I opened the door and saw him, when I opened the door and saw him, I was so happy that he was there for that moment. Yeah. I'm so happy I have a picture with Andre, you know, at that moment. He wanted to be in it. He was like, sis, let me up there. I said, you know, the wedding's today. He's like, let me in the wedding. I want to be in the wedding. I want to stand up there with them, you know. Oh, I wish I did. I wish I just let him.
Nah, y'all did that.
And you know, he's like,
yeah, Papa on there. Papa was there. Everybody.
Yep. Papa was in there, and it was all good. You know, it really was. It really was. And I asked God, I'm like, look, you let him come through this back door. He better be the one. Because he came at a time I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I didn't want to deal with love anymore. And he came at a time and God let him come through the back door and sweep me off my feet. And, you know, it's just how it is. And now we're a blended family. 8 is enough, people. 8 is enough.
Shout out to all my nieces and nephews. Look, these incredible people. On top of that, I'm gonna put a cheat code in. Plug his comic book because my bro-in-law does comics. I'm still waiting for my stuff. If you are
we gave you your stuff. You was here.
I'm talking about, I thought he came out with something new. Or is he waiting for somebody to be able to draw? If you can
the
draw,
one that he's doing now, he's waiting for the artist. He had a hard time.
I might have to come out of retirement because I'm gonna go
right. Right. Or any artists out there, please let me know. We need an artist. So
tell us a little bit about his comic portion before we wrap it up.
Yeah, John 3:16 Comics. That is the name of his comics, and this is something that he's always wanted to do, always. And I'm like, then do it. Why haven't you done it? And, you know, and I just, you know, was like, you need to do it. You need to write. You need to go ahead and write. And when he started writing, he just never stopped. He never stopped writing. And then, you know, it was a process. Okay, then he had to find an artist. Yes, they are expensive. And so he had to find an artist. And then, yeah, we can't even catch you. You need to talk to your bro him then if you can do all that. But yeah, he made it come alive with his first comic. And then he had his second comic that came out last year and was so excited about it. And
good. I have to buy 2 copies because if I read one, I want to save one because I mean
yeah. And you know, he's working on the third one. So he's doing something he's always wanted to do. And that's what, you know, relationships should do. Things that you really want to do, you should be pushing your partner to do them. You should be inspiring them to take a leap, go do it. You know, I'm not going to hold you back, you know, and he's doing it. And I'm glad he's doing it because he's, you know, dynamite.
So it's 3 things before we leave that I want to thank you for. Number 1, when I called you about a certain situation with a young lady that I was feeling like I was in the L word with when I was early 20s, and I approached you about that situation and I was feeling for somebody else, and you told me, bro, it is okay for you to walk away. You know how to treat a woman. It is okay for you to walk away because you're a great man. That was the first time somebody ever explained the difference between men and women as far as having the right to hurt and feel a certain kind of way and feel deserved.
Yeah.
So from that situation, like I said, she ended up marrying the fella in the military, and I don't even want to talk about that because I told you what happened.
Yeah.
Number two, introducing me to Beetle and Dale's love and extended family, because I love me some Beetle and Big Dale and Cindy and Dale and Shanta, just every man, Ran. I always got them confused for the longest. And now all the girls,
All the cheering. It's a new generation now.
that extended family, even going to VKJ and this portion of it, just seeing the way that Vonda's mother and father loved each other. When I saw that man go sit with her and listen to God and just sit there, I was just like, that for me was seeing men set a standard for love for a wife.
Yes.
Like, and for a wife to sit there and just be pretty and dolled up and be like, we good? Are you good? So that's number two. And number three, I just want to say, I thank you for loving me for me. It's not a lot of people that I feel genuine love from. And it's hard for me to accept love because I love giving it, but I appreciate you. And even though me and Tony's quiet and all, but I thank Tony for allowing me to be around his kids. I love my niece. I love my nephew. I wish I had more time.
They love you.
It seems like God replenishes things more and more. And when I see that handsome dude doing all this wild stuff, I'm like, oh, it's K-State. That's what they do in Aggieville. And my niece, I swear, I feel like if she comes to live in Houston or whatever, we are going to be.
You're going to see MJ before you see Tavy.
Just like me. And so, I'll come back and see Tavy. It's cool. But even Tony's kids, I love them all. Can
I mention them? Because they are wonderful. When you are doing a blended family, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to have to deal with. You don't know what has happened in their lives, but they are wonderful. Every single last one of them are great children, are wonderful children. Huh?
So intelligent too.
Very intelligent. You could tell they, were readers like Tony.
When he busted out laughing downstairs, I said, "What's wrong? What's going on?" They was like, "He's reading the book." I'm like, "What book is this?"
All the time.
When he got the PlayStation, I was like a kid talking about, "You got two joysticks? You ain't got two joysticks?" Can I watch you open it up? I ain't got no PS. I ain't got it, but.
Got a theater, Maya's into theater and acting and could sing, and Sierra could sing.
And the baby's on the way.
And the baby will be here early next year. We're excited about that. And it's just a lot going on. And God has our family in a very good place,
Absolutely.
And I give him the glory for that, because it's not easy to blend a family. Because that very first time, I know I'm taking your time. That very first time when we truly was all together, I was like, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna do? How to get these kids, to interact with each other? Because it was hard. And you know what got it going? Monopoly.
Y'all so old. Y'all some old souls.
Game night, Monopoly, boy, it's on and cracking. You want to come to the next game night.
When I'm out of money, I don't care about real estate. I'm out. I'm going to a HUD home. Skip selling it. I'm just gonna go for the government. So,
that game brought us together, and you know how your nephew is.
He's competitive and everything.
Competitive.
Yeah.
And so he was talking mess to the girls.
That's both of y'all. That's that male in him, and that's you. And he starts shaking their head like, nah. I got $1 left. Nah, I'm gonna bet 1,000 on it. Nah,
we gonna hold on. We're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna keep rolling.
So look, let me ask you this question. Throughout everything that's happened in life, throughout everything, what do you feel that your 3% has been in your life that has guided you to where you are right now?
That 3%, first, it wasn't a good 3%. It was, I would say that would be the unforgiveness and the anger that motivated me. It really didn't motivate me in a good way though. But to this point now, my 3% is my purpose. And I'll do this change lifestyle or whatever it is. I'll do it for free. I do it for free. And I think seeing people change, seeing people being delivered, seeing people become better, that's what drives me. That's what motivates me. Because I've seen people in situations that they felt like they couldn't get out of. And to see them in a happy place with themselves, that really motivates me to keep going on because, I have a lot going on, got a family, got a ministry, I'm in school
Forever in
and
school.
huh?
Forever in school.
Be quiet, dude. I got to get licensed.
You
That's
just don't want to talk
another
to
level.
Sally. Go ahead.
That's another level that God is going to take me on for later. That's the steps. I don't want to do it, but that's the steps that God is pushing me. I'm doing it. What keeps me going, what keeps me motivated is that I'm going to hit and be able to help others on a different level, on a larger scale. And that's what motivates me. God pushes me, boy. Woo, woo. He pushes me. But that's my 3%. Yep.
Well, I can honestly say, when you walk by faith, people say when you got to wait on God, that means you keep moving. In the words of Pastor Blake Wilson, the Crossover Bible Fellowship, compassion without action is not compassion at all. I feel you have the compassion. I feel that you have the drive, and I feel that you have the means with your family and friends and ministry and more, even with your husband to continue to do great things. If you will, plug where you at because you have a YouTube station. But more than anything, just go ahead and give out your information that you want out there. And when you send me a bio, I will put it in the link below.
All right. Change Lifestyle with Latanya is the YouTube. That's where I put the Change Lifestyle journey. You can see the full journey of last year on there right now. Change Lifestyle for you at gmail.com. If you want to be a part of Change Lifestyle or want to be in the group on Facebook, there's a Change Lifestyle group. It's a private group. It's just a group of women and we just share and encourage each other in that group. But that's where I do most of the talking. That's where I do most of my communication is through that Facebook Change Lifestyle group. We do have an IG, brother. I'm just gonna be honest. I still don't know how to work it.
Don't worry, my niece to get it popping.
Yeah, no, she ain't got no IG. One of them could probably help me with it, but I'm figuring it out. We do have a Change Lifestyle IG, but most of that information that I hand out is on that Facebook group. So you could just, go and search that Change Lifestyle. Lifestyle is put together. And you'll see the two hands with the chains coming free. That'll be me. Amen. Praise them, Lord.
Well, I tell you what, I was before you longer than I thought. I love you to death. I love you.
I love you.
I love your 3%. Again, this young lady has been a huge portion of my life. It's life changing. When she was introduced, it was at the right time. So they let me know it's her own time, God. And again, she always knows where to find me when I become Lot. So, the prodigal son comes back home.
We accept you every time you come through that door because we love you. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Can you say Jesus on your show?
Jesus above high, Lord. The change.
Thank you so much, brother. I'm so proud of you because you're doing this.
You make if you just hold on.
No, hold on.
We'll be there when... Okay, that's the song that we
made that song up years ago. Love is Love Records.
Hey, you hold on right quick. Hey, that's another edition. Holla at your boy.